Phil Wood is here. Got to dust off a little diamond dust off Mr. Wood and talk about journeys of teams. The Nationals making a journey. The Mets have had an unusual journey, too.
Well, Johnny, you lose more than 100 games 2 years in a row, and a lot of people assume that that's who you are and who you will always be. Has everyone forgotten about the early New York Mets? The Mets were born in 1962, an expansion team. Of course, New York had lost two teams simultaneously after the 1957 season when the Dodgers and Giants both moved to the West Coast. Now, it was inevitable the National League would come back to New York, and it did in 1962 when the Mets were born. Now, the Mets hired Casey Stengel as their first manager in the hopes that the fans would remember all those championships he won with the Yankees. Well, they did, but not for long. The first year, the Mets lost an astounding 120 games against just 40 wins. Now, the later years didn't get much better. Through their first 7 seasons, the Mets averaged only 56 wins a year, 56 and 106. Now, there's an old adage in baseball, you're going to win 50 games, lose 50, and it's what you do with the other 50 that really counts. Well, the Mets were losing those 50 games, too. They were really awful. Their first 7 years, terrible, but year 8 was 1969, and they won 100 games. They beat out the Cubs for the National League East Division title, the first year of divisional play. They swept the Braves in the NLCS, and they beat the Orioles in 5 games in the World Series to win, obviously a huge moment in New York. Now, they showed a lot of patience with their kids, including future Hall of Famers like Tom Seaver and Nolan Ryan. They went after key role-playing veterans like Don Clendenin, Art Shamsky, and Tommy Agee to complement players like Cleon Jones, Bud Harrelson, and Ken Boswell. The result, a world championship and a team that would return to the World Series again in 1973. Now, there's a number of parallels between the Mets and the Nationals, but I'm not suggesting that the Nationals are going to show up in the World Series and win it in year 8. Now, it's not out of the question, but at the quarter pole this year, they're over 500 and holding their own during a pretty tough stretch in their schedule. Now, here's the main point. Ask any longtime Met fan how much sweeter it is when you start at rock bottom to win a championship, and I think we're all hoping that National fans can find out exactly what that feels like in the next few seasons.
You enjoyed your time up there, didn't you?
I had a good time. We had a good club. We didn't have to come back from that far, but I can remember those days as a young man and all that. Casey Stengel says, can anybody here play the game? But this ball club is a lot closer than most people think. And, you've got a few more teams now than you had then. But, hey, they're on the right track, no question about it. Great piece.
Phil, thank you very much. Always great to see you.